Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am your girl Molinda Jae. Please don't hurt me, okay? Of course, I have been, I wouldn't say MIA, but I've been doing some things in the background. Like it has been graduation season, and I just been going to back graduations on top of grounding myself for the first half of the month of May, and the full moon whooping my tail, having me just feel fatigued and drained, even though I had a good night's rest and all. I don't know if y'all felt the same way around that time, but that was the energy that was definitely given. And then, of course, I am going through some other personal transformations at the same dang time. So, the content, I'm just gonna let y'all know, give y'all a little smidge update. I will be pulling back from the daily uploads from Monday through Friday to like 2 to 3 days out of the week until the transition is final on the back end for personal reasons. Okay. However, I will continue to provide you all good content. Like there are still some like I have all the notes reviewed from the shows that I have watched, such as Martha's Vineyard, Queen Charlotte, because Bridgerton is my show on Netflix. And speaking of Netflix, y'all already seen the emails if y'all still have Netflix about them cracking down on the password change. So I got some tea on that. All right. And yeah, I have all the reviews for that, and then some. It's just sitting my butt down to actually review it. I mean, to actually record it and then have it for you all to indulge while I am working on things in the background. But enough of my shenanigans. Okay. Now, what I would like to present you all for this video is an alert that a tweet alert that I seen Friday. Well, really, it was Thursday. Now I'm looking at this article. Thursday, about the Texas Children's Hospital are stopping transgender care in the months coming, per CEO email. And then also, I wanted to talk about the continued beef between Disney and DeSantis, since I gave you all an insight of what was going on with DeSantis doing like a hostile takeover with Disney, low key, because Disney is like their own little township government, so to speak, where they could do what they want to do because they have their own police station, fire station, all that stuff. And on top of DeSantis doing some more things on his end, the bills that was mentioned in the article that I have referenced before, they have basically came into pass. And basically it's just the D versus the D, this Disney versus DeSantis. So I'm gonna give y'all a good little article explaining the girls are fighting. All right. And then also there was the Warner Brothers CEO being booed at the student's graduation at Boston University, screaming "pay your writers." So I'll be talking about that. I also came across the article explaining the Colorado Valley, because I did a video on that, on how the water crisis is, the water supplies is basically coming to a halt again, is heading towards drought season already, is experiencing arsenic in the water. And then lastly, an alert that I came across before I went to my other cousin's graduation, my other graduation, was the student loans. Okay, the student loans, the House voting to claw back pandemic forbearance and debt relief. And it's a lot going on. So let's go ahead and get into these articles, starting off with the Texas Children's Hospital. All right. And it reads, Texas Children's Hospital is to stop transgender care in the coming months, per CEO email stating, it says, it's very likely Senate Bill 14 will be signed into law by Governor Greg Abbott, which would ban transgender care for minor children in Texas. These are services that were being offered by Texas Children's Hospitals. On Wednesday, the staff received a memo stating that it will be changing. Also, CEO Mark Wallace says the hospital will be modifying their gender affirming care over the next several months to be compliant with the Senate Bill 14. Where am I? Okay, one sign that will go into effect in September. The email was authenticated by our partners at Houston Chronicle. And Texas Children's Hospitals will no longer offer hormone therapy and other transgender care for minor children. We will work with patients and their families to manage the discontinuation of the hormone therapies or source appropriate care outside of Texas, the email said. Wallace added that the hospital will continue to provide psychological care that is permissible under the new law. Just last week, Attorney General Ken Paxton announced investigation to Texas Children's Hospital over what he says was illegal transgender care being offered. Quoting, stating, I've been clear that any transgender transitioning procedures that hurt our children constitute child abuse under Texas law. Children are not to be treated as science experiments, end quote. A portion of Paxton's statement reads, Wallace called the upcoming changes painful and asked for support and care for the children and families affected by the bill. Okay, and that's the end of that article. Now, Senate Bill 14. I'll probably do a separate video on that, but it mentioned the Houston Chronicle. So here's this is the Tribute. So for this particular article here, of course, it gives a little synopsis of what's going on. Of course, the top topics in this particular website right now that's going on is the Paxton Attorney General Paxton investigation. Of course, Uvalde 1 year later, and then the legislative session of 2023 and the Senate priorities. So basically within, of course, for mental health support for the LGBTQ youth, you can call the Trevor's Project 24/7 toll-free support line at 866-488-7386 for trans peer support. Call the Trans Lifeline at 877-565-8860. You can also reach a trained crisis counselor through the Suicide Crisis Lifeline by calling or texting 988. So it reads down within this article that Texas is on the brink of blocking the minors from getting puberty blockers and hormone therapy treatments that lead medical groups saying that they are important for supporting their mental health. Governor Greg Abbott told Fox News on Thursday that he will sign Bill 14, which both legislative and chambers passed this month, over a fierce opposition of the trans Texas kids, their parents, and LGBT advocacy groups. I'm not going to make any secret about it. I'll be signing it, he said. This is about protecting children. The Senate voted 1912 on Wednesday to accept the House's version of the bill and sent it to Abbott's desk. So this happened, as I'm recording this on the 29th of May. This happened last Wednesday, which was the 24th. Okay. So It also stated on Thursday, legal groups opposing the legislation, including the American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU of Texas, Lambda Illegal and Transgender Law Center, also said they will launch a legal challenge to try to block it from taking effect. Now, with the Senate Bill 14, it is a legislative priority for the Republican Party of Texas, which opposes any effort to validate transgender identities. Is also a key proposal among the slate of GOP bills that would restrict the rights of representation of LGBTQ Texans. This session admits a growing acceptance of Christian nationalism on the right. Authored by the New Braunfels Republican Senate Donna Campbell, Senate Bill 14 will prohibit trans Texans under the age of 18 from assessing trans-related medical treatments, including puberty blockers, hormone therapies, and surgeries, though surgeries are rarely performed on kids. Also, the bill will also require trans youth who are already getting its care to be weaned off in a medically appropriate manner. This is a slightly out of step with the abrupt cutoff of the mandate by the version of the Senate approved last month, but the upper chamber the upper chamber has chosen not to ask for the conference committee to iron out the difference. In pushing for the Senate Bill 14, Campbell and other backers have disputed the research and science behind transition-related care. They also say the legislation is an effort to save Texas families from healthcare providers who are taking advantage of a social contagion and pushing life-altering treatments on kids who may later regret taking them. We are the legislator. Our job is to protect people. Senator Bob Hall, who is a Republican from Edgewood, said, "We protect children against lots of things. We do not let them smoke. We don't let them drink, even though they're going to do both. We don't let them buy lottery cards. And we are also doing the right thing." Medical groups, trans Texans, and their families, however, say this care is vital to trans youth mental health. Treatments are also not rushed, they say. Instead, it is a time-intensive process to access this care, including multiple required medical evaluations. They also warn that the House version of the proposed tapered-off process is still likely to bring physical discomfort and psychological distress to a group that is already more likely to be at risk of depression and suicide than their cisgender peers. Cisgender meaning heterosexual, straight people, okay, and in layman's terms, straight people. Some have also called forced detransitioning. So, continuing on, it said, well, how long is this article? Okay, we almost done. I'll continue reading it, y'all. Let me know down in the comment section if you like that I read these articles out for you all. I feel like, never mind, I'll say it at the end of this, okay. That would push me past my breaking point, says Randall, a 16-year-old trans boy from North Texas who has been on hormone therapies for the past few years. He agreed to speak with the Texas Tribune, if only his full name isn't used to protect his safety. Pending Abbott's signature on Senate Bill 14, Texas, home to one of the largest trans communities in the country, including around 30,000 teens between the age of 13 and 17, will become one of over a dozen states that restrict transition-related care for trans minors. The ACLU, Lambda Legal, and other advocacy groups for LGBTQ rights have sued several of them. Texas lawmakers are hell-bent on joining the growing roster of the states determined to jeopardize the health and lives of transgender youth in direction of opposition to the overwhelming body of scientific and medical evidence supporting this care as appropriate and necessary. The legal group said in a joint statement Thursday, "We will defend the rights of transgender youth in court, just as we have done in other states, and engage in this anti-science and discriminatory fear-mongering." And already the prospect of losing access to these treatments has prompted many parents of trans kids, including Randalls, to consider traveling out of state or flee Texas altogether. Costly options are not available to all. Others have also spoken publicly about not wanting to abandon the community they love or that their families have been in for generations. Wow. So it's affecting kids not only for as like an economic standpoint, but also kids who have generational wealth in this particular state as well. Put that into perspective. We're not going to be able to know how many children will be saved, as it's been called from from this lifestyle, but we will definitely be able to track what harm it may cause, said Senator Jose Mendez, Democrat, San Antonio, on Wednesday. "It is my hope that every child affected by this bill can have a chance to grow up and see that things will get better." Okay. So that concludes the reading of this particular article. So what I would like to hear from y'all is what are y'all thoughts about this situation in regards to Texas cracking down on treatments for the trans community, specifically the teenagers, just blocking the puberty blockers and all those sorts of things. My opinion on this, or my thoughts on this particular situation, is it reminds me of the TV series I Love Jazz on TLC, where Jazz had undergone some treatments, and there are some times where, and I don't know if she still regrets it now, but there were times on the show that she shown regret about making a decision too early to transition, and probably could have waited later on in life to do it, and so forth. So with this particular act happening, not only on the hospital, but as is going into effect with the government standpoint in the state of Texas, it is very alarming, to say the least, for that community, because it's just like with the abort bill, when it comes to pregnancies, it leads to people doing the unthinkable, whether they do it under the table, or they'll end up moving out of the state or traveling out of the state just so they can continue on with those services. And yes, we do have to protect the children at all costs, but at the same time, if the child wants to do it, at that time, I would encourage them to at least wait till they are 18. At least 18 or 21. And to be honest, what is the legal age at this point? Because at age 18, you'll be out of your parents' house for the most part, going to college, and I'll be explaining this scenario in the student loans. You're being inclined to, enroll for federal aid to get a student loan so you can go to college, and that's a large lump sum of money. And most of us, if not all of us, were not taught how to utilize the dollar, to have dollars and cents, utilize the money wisely, or to, know the ins and outs of loans and stuff at the young age of 18, even though your parents are going to be the ones held liable until you turn, at least I want to say 21 or 22, to where you're able to sign off on the loans without doing a parent plus loan with your parents. And in which that leads kids to low-key do a gap year until they turn the age of 22. That way they can just work and stack up their money so they can have some money on the side to go to college, or they'll end up going to a 2-year college where it's half the cost. And then at the same time, you're not kicked off your parents' insurance until you're the age of 26, and then you are not able to drink until the age of 21. So it's just like, so what is the appropriate age to be considered as an adult? In my eyes, it'll be the age of 26, 25, 26, because the brain is fully developed around those ages, 25, 26. And then at the same time, you get kicked off of your parents' insurance at the time. That's what I consider an adult at that time. Because if you're overseas, the legal age for drinking is 15. I want to say it's 15. You can drink across, when you're 15, you can drink when you're across the pond. So it's just like, what is the standard age exactly to be considered as an adult? Because you can drink at 21, you can withhold a pow at age 18 or 21, depending on what state you're living in, and the rest goes forward. So it's just like, can we just be on one accord to establish a legal age to be considered as adult? Because some of the stuff is not making any sense when it comes to getting out into the real world and handling yourself accordingly as an adult. So it's just like the Zaya Wade situation of, she is undergoing her dealings, and and of course she has parents to support her and stuff. But I'm on the biological mother side, as I'm still going to support you, because you are my son that is wanting to transition. But can you at least wait until you are at the age of 18? That way you will have some sense of knowing of what you would like to continue to do. Would you like to continue to be a guy, or would you like to continue to be a trans woman? So to each is their own. But I when I seen this alert coming along, I'm like, okay, let me let my peeps know, like, hey, let me sound alarm. Woo-hoo. You are in the state of Texas, they are planning to do this. So I thought I'd just let you know what is going on. But since it is election season, and we definitely need to keep a close eye on who is running and who is going to be in the party, who will be representing the parties, even though both of them need to be dismantled. Okay, both of them need to be dismantled, because both of them are equally doing the same thing. Just one of them is just a little slicker and smarter than the other. And then at the same time, I know there's a saying that most people would say, oh, our vote is not going to count, blah blah blah, yada yada yada. But it's good to actually be in a know, to have an idea to who is running and what is the purpose of running. And even if they're going to do the complete opposite, who is doing at the time, at least you'll know that you either made the right or wrong decision, or you're just like, I'm just gonna wait till the next time and then vote that mother trucker out, okay? Because I thought the 2018? Yeah, I thought the 2018 election was interesting. I thought the 2018, the 2016 election was interesting. But this one right here, this one is like the make or break. past panorama. This is the make it or break it type of election right here, because the panorama, that was like a reset for, as a global standpoint, to figure out what you gonna do as an individual and what are the countries gonna do for themselves as well. So I encourage everybody to at least, tap into who is going to be running and who would you like to be in office for the next 4 years, to at least have who has at least a little inkling of the best interest of America, because at the end of the day, all of them are like, ooh, okay. But other than that, sound off in the comments on your thoughts of this particular situation. I just thought I'll let y'all know what is going on, since I seen the alert last Thursday about this, and I was like, oh, let me let my peeps know about this, especially when it's election season and stuff like that. Okay. But other than that, this is what's going on in petty politics. And I'm gonna chop it up with y'all with the next video, so stay tuned. And oh yes, thank y'all to who has subscribed already. Thank you, I really appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, so I can be able to have more features available on going live. I don't know when I'm gonna go live exactly before I hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, because you're only so limited to do some things when you are under 1,000 subscribers. So whenever I do hit the 1,000 subscribers mark, I'll be able to have a little bit more access to have little tidbits and trinkets and stuff like that as it goes by. So just be on the lookout on a live coming soon to you. I'm not gonna put no date on it, because like I said, there's a lot of things that's going on my end, but it's for my good, okay? Because I asked for it and I have to act on it now, okay? So with that being said, I thank you all for tuning in into my rambling session and this and my thoughts on this video. And like I said, sound off on your thoughts on this particular situation. And until next time,